Ed's been a dedicated advocate for the Jewish home. He knew a lot of people, and he was very generous in his time and generous in helping us with those people who were giving large gifts. And he was also a great leader and a lot of fun. He was late to a lot of meetings, and that's usually why you remain chairs. We vote when you're not there. But I think Ed enjoyed it. I think he enjoyed it a lot. He was a very good leader, and quite frankly, I don't think there was anybody else who could do as good a job as Ed was doing in keeping the team together and in his outside work with the Jewish home. He's a mensch. What can I say?
Well, it must have been about 25 years ago. And I was contacted by Helen Silver, I think. And I believe John Lovenheim. And, I was asked if I wanted to get involved. And I reflected on the fact that this was the most important organization that my dad and his father were associated with. And so I was predisposed to say yes. And before I knew it, I ended up being elected president of the foundation, undoubtedly because I was late for the meeting when elections were held and couldn't take my name out of contention. I was chair of Jewish Senior Life almost as long as Chairman Mao ran China. And I think it was about 18 years. And I would have lobbied for term limits if I thought that was a possibility. But obviously there were enough people who thought I wasn't doing too much damage to the organization, so they kept me in that position. I had a lot of favorite memories. I love the give and take of the board meetings. The old adage, if you have two Jews meet, you have three opinions. Those opinions proliferated when you had 8 or 10 people around the table, and nobody was reluctant to express his opinion, or to let it be known that someone else's opinion was absolutely without merit. Through that rather chaotic process, we almost always came to not necessarily the best result, but a good result. I always thought that the Jewish Senior Life was perhaps the single most important institution in the Jewish community, because it was something that everyone could embrace. We might disagree on how we would deliver services, but we never would disagree as to the importance of the delivery of those services and the significance of a Jewish home to the community and to the families that needed our help. And we had to do it right. We could always do it better, but we had to do it right. My hope is that we continue on the path of innovation and leadership that has been a hallmark of this organization for as long as I can remember. I'm very excited about the greenhouses. I think that allows us to stand apart and to point the way. I think that as long as we never lose sight of what our mission is, which is to do the best we can for people in need, that we won't stray very far. I'm excited about the future.
Helen was one of the 5 people that was head of the foundation. And when I came on board, the donations for the foundation, there was like $300,000 that they used for the building fund. The donations came in. Vera, who was at the desk, would take the donations, and Helen would take them home and send them out, thank the families. And she was very involved in that foundation. And she was the one who came to me and said, "How would you like to work at the foundation?" I said, "I can't do that job." But she was very involved in the foundation. She was president of the auxiliary. And at a time when women didn't take so much leadership, she really was a driving force for that foundation that we have today. Helen was a very caring person. and she was very strong and strong-minded, and when she wanted to get something done, she got it done. I remember her saying, I'm going to get some money for the building fund, and she went to the auxiliary and she got $100,000, and we put it toward the building fund. And then when we were building this home, I remember the two of us walking through the building when it was a shell and trying to envision all the things, and she was very excited. When we were moving from St. Paul Street, we had 300 volunteers, and Helen was very involved. And the day of the move, she absolutely came and stood in that lobby and never left for a week. She directed people, she told them she was so worried about the families finding their residence, and she was amazing. She just took over and was just, she just could do anything she wanted to do. There are many people who take leadership roles here, but their input and their influence doesn't always stay for 30 years, and I could walk through that home now and tell you all the things that Helen believed in and have come to fruition. And I think if she saw the greenhouses, because family was so important to her, and not only family, but the families and the residents and programs for them.
Of course, I knew Helen. I used to drive down to visit her, and she had to have exercise, which she got me involved in that also, in the exercise, by walking 4 or 5 miles on East Lake Road. And what did she talk about? The home, the auxiliary, how you should get involved more than just what you're doing. That's how I got involved. I really got involved in the auxiliary and became president. I don't think she wanted to be noticed, that I did this, I did that. She just went ahead, and of course she had her husband Mike in back of her. It was an awful day when she passed away. We missed her, and I think they still miss somebody like that there.
When I think about Robin, I think about her with great affection and with great admiration. And when I think about the 3 T's, time, talent, and treasure, I think that Robin gets an A+++ in that category. By that I mean, in terms of the time that Robin has given to the Jewish home, to the Jewish senior life community over the years, it's incalculable how many hours of volunteer time she has given. In terms of talent, her compassion, her connection to this place, to the people who live and who work here, is admirable. Her talent in having created this Women's Council idea to connect women to the Jewish senior life community, it was spot on. And the results that we've already had with our Women's Council Committee, it just goes to show how when you get a group of like-minded women together to benefit an organization, amazing things can happen, and amazing things have already happened, and we're poised for even more in the future. And when it comes to treasure, Robin puts her money where her mouth is. Not in ways that she's looking for recognition, because that's not, I don't think, who Robin is, but she matches her commitment with her philanthropic dollars, and that's something that I think is to really be admired.
Well, believe it or not, it goes back to 1984. I was in graduate school studying for a PhD in anthropology, and I became really interested in the different ways people grow old around the world. And I started thinking about what is local and the kinds of differences that exist among older people right here within the United States. And I started volunteering at the old home on St. Paul. And I only spent perhaps a month there when the move occurred to the new building, state-of-the-art, 1984. And I continued to do my research and probably dropped out of my involvement for a while I had a long career teaching at the college level. But I got back to it in 2003. Not too long after that, I became chair of the Resident Care Quality Assurance Committee. That was a really important moment for me because I came to that committee and realized that most of the members at that time were physicians or retired physicians. Because of my background, I mean, one of the primary tenets of anthropology is taking a holistic point of view. So I still remember when I talked to them about needing to incorporate a holistic point of view and looking at things from the resident's viewpoint, my love and my interest and my passion really for the older people in our community and knowing more about them and their stories really has continued to interest me and make me feel that it's a way that I can make a difference. I have felt for so long that the community just doesn't know enough about all the things that JSL does. For so long, people thought of us as the Jewish home, the nursing home, long-term care. It's one thing to provide bricks and mortar and food and smiles, but the foundation makes it possible to really enrich the lives of our friends here. And I just wanted somehow to find a way to bring people into the organization, more women, develop leadership, create ambassadors who could go out in the committee, into the community, and have answers to people's questions. So if I have done anything, I'm going to hope that that will be my primary legacy.